Hello YouTube, welcome to my channel. This is Jasmine Gonzalez. Another day here in upstate New York, specifically in Troy, New York, because that's where I live. I live in Troy, New York, which is a little bit north of Albany, which is the capital of New York. For those that don't know New York, New York City is not the capital of New York, it's Albany. Anyway, so today is Thursday. I'm getting ready for the trip on to New York City on Saturday, which I think I'm probably going to be driving because I still don't feel safe taking public transportation, especially being stuck in a bus with other people for 3 hours. So I think I'm going to take my chances and drive to New York City. Should be an interesting experience, and so I hope things go well for me on Saturday. Um, yeah, and so that's pretty much it. There's not too much. I have to go to work later today. It's not bad. Still having my breakfast coffee. Um, so I don't think I'm going to be working on arts projects today. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Pretty much. But it's interesting. I just want to talk about things that I miss. I totally miss Puerto Rico to an extent, to be honest. Like there were simpler times before I even had a job, but I do regret one thing that I didn't do in Puerto Rico, which was like working while I was in college. I had the chance to work in college, but what happened was when I went to college, I was 17. I was even 18. I graduated high school at 17, and I began going to college at 17. I turned 18 the first semester. So I was still very young when I went to college. My dad gave me two options when I finished high school. He told me that either I could find a job or he would pay me my education. So I decided to take my education. School in Puerto Rico was relatively cheap compared to education costs here in New York and in the States. I decided to take the education. I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I originally wanted to study computer engineering, and that's one of my regrets there. I should have gone for computer engineering, but my dad somehow told me like, no, you should study chemical engineering because they have jobs. I mean, I should have known better than my dad. Was a little bit biased because he was working in a pharmaceutical, and in a pharmaceutical, there are chemical engineers more than any other type of engineers. But in all honesty, chemical engineering have suffered drastically. There are not many opportunities, and also job opportunities that are available. There are very few of them. So it's a very difficult field to get into. Um, Eventually, I got into environmental engineering because I found a nice overlap with chemical engineering, and that's why I decided to go into environmental engineering. Plus, I did like the idea of protecting the environment using science, and that's why I went to that area eventually. But um, during college, I tried to apply for part-time jobs, never got called um, for an interview. And one time I applied, my grandfather told me to put as a reference a person that he knew. So I did that, and finally I got called for an interview. Unfortunately, when I put the application, and this was a weekend, I had talked to my grandfather that weekend, and then I submitted the application. Then I went to school, and then they called me on the way to at school, invited me to interview. At that time, I had a huge ass cell phone, and so I went to interview. I was thinking about going to an interview, but when I arrived home, I found out that tragedy had happened. My grandfather had died, so I couldn't go to the interview because I had to be with my mom and my parents because of my grandfather passing. And it took me by surprise because I didn't expect my grandfather to die so soon, and it just happened so soon. And the sad part was like the previous weekend I was talking to him over the phone, and all of a sudden, just coming to a realization that he was there no more. Um, it was tough, honestly, but also it cost me the job opportunity of working part time. I know it was going to be in retail, but it was still a job. And when after that, I tried again to apply, but I didn't get considered. And the problem has been that Puerto Rico has a problem with high unemployment. There's a lot of unemployment. It's probably because they don't have enough job opportunities out down there, and that's the sad part about Puerto Rico. Um, anyway, I finished my degree. I graduated, but I didn't go to work part time at all. And now working in retail later in my life is kind of like, oh wow, definitely not what I want to do with my life. I think that would have motivated more to continue doing better in school. Anyway, that's all I got now. Peace out, everybody. Stay safe.